The highway's spine blinked white, then gone, then white again, a stitched wound under a black sky. Emma kept her toes on the dashed paint the way her mother taught. When everything turns wrong, follow what stays the same. Hot tar bled a bitter smell. Dry weeds scratched the wind. Somewhere left, a dog barked once and ran out of courage. The backpack thumped her shoulder blades. Pink, scuffed, important. Cardboard crackers in a zip bag. A cheap phone with a spidered corner. A small camera with a frayed strap. A little metal stick on a Hello Kitty keychain that didn't look like much and weighed like tomorrow. She didn't cry. Crying made rooms colder. The garage rose where the dark thin. A cinder block mouth with a steel door rolled halfway up. Light pooled in a hard stripe across concrete. A blade waiting for hands. 12 bikes idled chrome, biting the fluorescence into fragments. Men turned as one. Beards, scars, ink, red devils sewn to denim and leather, devils outcasts. Emma stopped in the light like a coin on a rail. "Can you hide me from my daddy?" she asked. The engines didn't go quiet. The sentence cut through them. The man who stepped forward had a face that remembered knives. A ropey scar tugged his mouth toward a frown even when it didn't belong there. He dropped to a squat until his eyes found hers. "Name?" he asked, voice like gravel in a glass. "Emma." "Emma Rodriguez." The big one with teardrops inked under his eye. Punctuation where crying used to be shifted his weight. Another, a black snake climbing his neck, moved 2 steps. So leather touched her shoulder instead of night. "Where's your mom?" the teardrop man asked, unsure softness sneaking in. "In heaven." Emma's mouth went small. "Daddy said so." She looked down, then back up. "I think he made her go." There was red on her head before she went to sleep. No one coughed. The scarred man's jaw ticked not at her. At the idea of that red, he kept his voice thin and even. "How'd you get here?" "I followed the broken white line." She pointed at the mouth of the road. "Mum showed me once," she said. "If anything really bad happens, find the scary-looking people who fight monsters. The monsters get confused." Snake's mouth twitched. He didn't speak. Emma took her zipper. The sound was a bright rip in the hum. "A little metal river. I brought snacks. Mommy's phone." And her hands shook. She set a towel-wrapped thing on a greasy bench, unfolded it. Kitchen knife. The brown-black rim along the guard looked like a bad memory dried to shape. Air lost a degree. Tank, the one with 4 arms like bridge cable, turned away and swallowed a groan that almost became a sound. His shoulders hitched once, a dry heave he would have saved for an empty room. Chains stared at the crust, then wiped his palm on a clean rag like a reflex. His mind wasn't invited to. Snake's glove creaked where he'd cinched the strap too tight. No one tried for heroics. They leaned in the way you lean into weather. "You've never seen this close." Mom said to take evidence. Emma's chin nudged forward. A question becoming a fact. "Is this evidence?" "Yes," the scarred man said. "It is." She placed a small digital camera beside it, then the USB with the Hello Kitty charm. "Mom taught me to take pictures when Daddy got mean. The police like pictures more than girls who cry. She hid this in my backpack." She said, "If anything happens to her, give it to the police." Snake fished a cable from nowhere and clicked it into the camera. Heads closed in, shoulders making a wall that left space for the small person at its center. The screen was bad at being a screen, washed out, scratched, but the frames didn't care. A black eye. Finger-shaped islands on a forearm. The third image made the sound in Chains's throat that belonged to knives, not men. The date stamps stacked like a staircase going down 47 times. "Where is your father now?" the scarred man asked. Someone had called him Razor. He sounded like paperwork for a thing that mattered. "He went to meet his work friends." Emma said. The ones with fast cars and guns. He said, when he comes back, we're going where nobody finds us. She hugged the backpack like it could keep the sky on. I don't want to go. He scares me. Engines found them before anyone answered. Not one. 3. Headlights swept the bay, painting faces white, and then nobody. Razor lifted his chin 1 degree. The men moved without words. Choreography built over bad years. Someone killed the fluorescents. Someone rolled the door until the night narrowed to a slit. Bikes died, metal ticking as it cooled. The garage held its breath. That's his friends. Emma whispered. She pushed into the leather at Razor's knee. Please don't let them take me. Razor's hands came up. Empty. Positions, he said quietly, and boots shifted on concrete. The lead car spit gravel and stopped hard. A man stumbled out with a gun and a bottle, still deciding his weight. Emma recognized the outline and didn't. 2 other men peeled off the flanks with the stillness of old wolves' eyes, taking inventory. Not prisoners. Emma, her father shouted, get out here. You took something that's not yours. The outcasts fanned into a shallow crescent. 12 against 3 can look like a joke if you don't count the child. Razor stepped forward into the mouth of the stripe where the highway's broken line, through the inch of open door, found his boots. Daniel, he called, voice pitched low enough to live. Name's Razor. You don't want a funeral at 2 a.m. Put the gun on the hood. You can talk. The kid stays behind me. She's coming with me. Not tonight, Razor said, palms open, weight back like he was the one retreating. You put that pistol down and everybody here goes home breathing. Don't make her watch you be stupid. One of the wolves lifted his gun without looking at anyone. If the cops get the drive, he told the dark, we don't leave witnesses. Emma's father jabbed his weapon at the air. She took the ledger. The little she's got the drive. Emma stepped sideways, out from behind leather. 4 feet of decision. You hurt my mom, she said. The words landed like flat rocks in a river, building a path. You made her go to sleep. The police will know about the money and the names. Arithmetic flickered across her father's face. Pride did what it always does, and sharpened the wrong edge. You cost me everything, he said. Should have gotten rid of you the same. The moment cracked. Razor's hands dropped from open to useful. Positions, he said. This time, for real. 90 seconds turned long enough to have weather. Snake slid across a diagonal and met a wrist. Chains hooked an ankle like muscle memory had paid rent for this second for years. A length of chain swung once and tapped a gun, which skipped across the floor and sang metal. Tank recovered from the bench and became a wall. No one shouted. Bodies closed doors in a storm. Then it was over. 3 men hogtied with zip ties, wrists nested neat as instruction. A pistol lay 5 feet from a boot. Emma walked to it, pinched 2 fingers on the backstrap, the way her mother showed her to lift dangerous things without becoming part of them, and set it on the bench beside the knife and the camera. This goes to the police too, she said. More evidence. Razor's voice came out matured. Nobody touch Bear. Snake gloves. Snake was already in leather. Chains yanked open a drawer and brought out clear pouches and a roll of red tamper seals like Christmas for people who like truth. A Sharpie came alive. A small thermal printer woke with a soft exhale. Time, Razor asked. 2:14 and 40. Tank said, finding his own voice again. Checklist, Razor said, like calling a drill. Say it. Time. Snake repeated, eyes on the knife. Lingar. Sursit. Sisher. Item. Kitchen knife. Visible red residue. Custodian. Snake. Seal code. A0197. He slid the knife into a pouch, pressed the red strip until adhesive spider webbed across the mouth. Chains angled the shot. Photo top. Label. Seal edge. Again, larger. He said, Gravel Keeter now. The camera clicked. Demon peeled a white label and smoothed it down while it was still warm from the printer. Drive, Razor said. Temporary seal, a 0198. Demon read as he wrote, hash pending on worm with county witness tomorrow. He wrote asterisk temp. Asterisk in the corner because the future likes labels. Say it like the future is tired, Snake muttered, and read the number again. Bigger. The pistol next. Snake pinched the backstrap, muzzle away. Unloaded, he noted, not trusting the word more than necessary. Item handgun. Serial visible. Custodian Snake. Seal A0199. Photos at Anglais. A clock in the background. Zip-tied suspects in frame. Profiles. Like warnings. Where's the phone? Razor asked. Emma lifted the cheap rectangle. Here, will inventory. Chains said, swallowing the last of a dry heave. Bag it dead. No power. Asterisk. Do not asterisk. Plug without a blocker. Headlights again. Slow this time. Tan paint and bar lights. A second car behind it with a shape built to be forgotten. The deputy who stepped in took in the room in one practiced breath and started writing the breath down. Writing made things real here. A woman in a raincoat color got out of the sedan and walked in with policy. Margaret Stevens, she said, Child Protective Services. All of you back 2 steps from the child, she added, palm open. They obeyed. She crouched by the bound men, photographed SIPT placements. Then the dark skid where a pistol had kissed the floor. Who touched the gun last? With what? Leather gloves. Snake said, hands up. Seal numbers, she said. Chains recited. She checked against the photos, against the log, against the heat still bleeding off the thermal stickers. She snapped a shot of the Sharpie labels and the clock and the faces that would have to swear later. Only then did she look at Razor. If this is a performance, it's the first one that holds up to a flashlight. This, the child, she asked. Finally, this is Emma, Razor said. Margaret crouched again, knees popping. Hi, Emma. I'm Margaret. My job is kids who had to be brave. How old are you? 6. Okay. She stood, turned back to the men. Mr. Rodriguez. Razor, Snake said, because last names here were too slippery to trust. I can't place a child in a motorcycle clubhouse. Then the state's got a problem, Razor said, not unkind. He tipped his head toward the bench with the red seals. She came to us. We called you. We're doing the boring parts. She gave the knife one more look and the drive another. Emma is under my temporary care until a judge says otherwise, she said. Tonight, I will supervise a placement here. You will post rules. You will follow them. You will make me tired with paperwork. Visitor log, she added. Snake slid a hardcover to a stool and ruled 5 columns clean. Asterisk, date, time, name, purpose, signature. Asterisk. He printed the header twice, darker, like the future had bad eyesight. House rules, Margaret said. Chains uncapped the black marker and glanced at Emma. This one, okay? Emma nodded, small and official. He wrote asterisk, no yelling asterisk. In letters big enough for years, he looked at her again and added beneath, smaller, even if parts fall, asterisk. Emma's shoulders dropped a notch, like the room found a temperature. He went down the list with a bouncer's neatness. Asterisk. No firearms in common room. Meds locked dock. Only 2 signatures dose. Night. Watch 3 HR shifts. RSER chains Snake Demon. Visitors logged plus ID if asked. CPS entry anytime. Emergency plan posted. Emergency plan, Margaret asked. Razor pointed to a blank spot. Posting in 5. He looked at Demon. Route to clinic. Sheriff contact. Intruder protocol. Make the font ugly big. They moved like men used to moving for worse reasons. A cot squeaked into the office nook. A lockbox bolted to a column. Swallowed pills and syringes and a thermometer. Doc wrote a dosing log in block letters. The deputy photographed each list, each seal, each face with the patience of an affidavit. Emma slid a hand into the front pocket and found her mother's phone a cold rectangle that remembered a voice. She touched the dark screen with one finger, not to wake it, only to borrow the shape. I carried the 47, she whispered. I'll keep carrying them. Hash in the morning, Razor said to Margaret, who had started typing in her car with the glow of a blue square that made its own small dawn. Write once. Your witness. Clerk's vault. We'll reseal the drive with a new number. You'll say the numbers out loud. Margaret said, every time. We are. Snake said, like it was a vow. The cruisers loaded the 3 men. Red and blue washed the ceiling in soft pulses law on a dimmer. Through the inch of doors still open, a far car threw its headlights along the highway, and the broken white line blinked steady, then gone, then steady. Razor stood between colors and made a choice. He turned to the board and the rules in black. We'll follow ours, he said. Margaret came back with a single sheet warm as plastic and magneted it next to the rules. Asterisk, asterisk, supervised placement temp conditions, asterisk, asterisk, no firearms in common room, meds locked, 2 signatures per dose, night watch per roster, visitor log at door, CPS entry anytime, emergency plan posted. Cot, Chains said, like a prayer. He tucked a blanket that smelled faintly of laundry soap and a summer nobody regretted. You'll sleep there. I'm on watch. You snore, Emma asked. Only when I'm awake, he said. Snake snorted and wrote asterisk, asterisk, night watch, 01, 0004, 00 chains. Asterisk, asterisk. As if the page would need to testify later, Emma slid under the blanket. The concrete gave back the day's heat. The air held gasoline's sweet ghost. She set the backpack by the cot leg and looped the strap around the metal hardware for promises. Razor took the doorway between bays and night and stood in it until the shape of him became a door that could choose to lock the right way. She looked at the wall, where the light made a soft shape that could be hair if you wanted it to be. Hi, Mom, she said to that shape. They wrote numbers on things. They said rules out loud. I think the rules keep the monsters confused. The garage settled into a quiet that wasn't empty pressure equalizing after weather. Razor checked his watch. 02:59 and wrote it in the log because if you don't write it, it turns into a story, and stories can be argued. He looked at the red seals like fresh stitches, at dust, turning in the line of light under the door. He clicked one shop light off and left the one over the board. The room kept just enough to outline what mattered. A cot, a backpack, a list in black letters, a man in a doorway. Boring winds, Snake murmured, not sure yet if he believed it. It better, Razor said. Chains lifted the old tablet and took one last frame of the seals. The board, the strap looped to steel. The shutter made a small sound and folded into the room. A quiet seal on a night that decided to believe in procedure. Outside, a truck downshifted somewhere too far to count. Inside, the white line waited beyond the door, blinking steady, then gone, then steady. The red and blue faded out. The board didn't. Morning came in layers first, the cold that rose from the concrete, then a pale band through the high window. Then the smell of last night's gasoline turned sweet and harmless. A laminated sheet hung on the whiteboard, corners taped hard enough to survive arguments. Asterisk, asterisk, supervised placement temp conditions. Asterisk, asterisk, no firearms in common room, meds locked. 2 signatures per dose. Night watch per roster. Visitor log at door. CPS entry anytime. Emergency plan posted. Margaret stood by the bay. Coat open. Ben in hunt. She didn't smile. She watched men finish the things they'd promised while tired. That is rarer than a vow. Visitor log, Razor said. Snake set a hardcover ledger on a stool near the roll-up door. Ruled 5 columns with a carpenter's patience. Asterisk, asterisk, date, time, name, purpose, signature. Asterisk, asterisk. He wrote the header twice. Darker, like the future would be reading under a bad bulb. Good, Margaret said, and clicked her phone off. People tell truer truths. When the red light isn't there to impress, Emma blinked herself back into the day. The cot had learned her weight. The blanket gave up its last pocket of warmth. Chains lifted 2 fingers from a stool near the whiteboard. His eyes were red around the edges in a way that didn't ask for sympathy. Hungry? He asked. She nodded. Snake poured cereal into a chipped bowl like it required a license, then put the spoon down on a folded napkin as if ceremony helped the day behave. Margaret walked the room again. Cords taped, solvents locked, the little safe bolted to a column. The laminated emergency plan Razor had printed too big on purpose. Asterisk, asterisk. Clinic Route 2 exits. Sheriff liaison. Intruder protocol office quick release window. Left path to camera. Asterisk, asterisk. She wrote a small note to herself, Times clear fonts, posted at child height times, and put the pen away as if that completed a prayer. At the bench, 3 clear pouches weighted like small lifeboats, the red tamper seals from last night held. Labels hugged the plastic smooth. Razor checked without touching eyes, skimming numbers. Corners. Signatures. We hash at 10, he said. Write once. Witness. No one breathes funny. County IT will bring the recorder, Margaret said. You'll narrate what your hands do before they do it. We like narrating now, Snake said, and it sounded like a joke the room believed. A sedan rolled up to the open door and stopped so politely. Even the dust looked surprised. A man in a county windbreaker climbed out carrying a gray case. He had the patient look of someone who knows a cable can ruin a career. Hell, he said. Recorder, right blocker, scale, camera that doesn't ask for filters. He signed the ledger, printing letters clean enough to show a judge. Snake added asterisk, asterisk ID, verified asterisk, asterisk in the margin, and underlined it once for everyone who might pretend later. Drive first, Hal said. Open per witness. Demon slit the edge of the pouch where asterisk, asterisk, a 203 asterisk, asterisk, lived, saying the number like it wanted to hear its own name. He tipped the Hello Kitty USB onto a white tray. Hal filmed with a phone set to a clock that didn't blink. Time, Razor said. Sure, Lingar. 13 chains answered, watching the wall clock, the way you watch a road. Item, USB drive. Hello Kitty keychain, custodian transfer, from Demon to Hal. Hal slotted the drive into a right blocker, not touching metal to metal until the camera saw it. The recorder spun up, a fan whispering like a small animal making peace. Hex poured down a screen, calm and relentless. SHA 256, Hal said. Read once. He printed the hash on a thermal strip. The paper came out warm as coin. Margaret initialed the form. Razor read the string back and copied it into the log. Each character its own decision. Chains photographed the strip, the screen, the hands, the wall clock. They resealed the drive in a new pouch and pressed asterisk, asterisk A. 203 asterisk asterisk flat, so no corner could lift without losing its pride. Knife, next, Hal said, already sealed as a 197. Snake answered, no more peeks until the lab. We're not hobbyists. Hal nodded, pleased like a man who found adults at a fire drill. Camera, catalogued. Chains said, we'll mount for images later with your right once. Metadata talks. We won't. Hal packed the case slowly, like tucking a child in. You'll get subpoenaed, he said to the room without targeting anyone. Answer questions asked. Leave poetry at home. We left poetry at a chop shop years ago, Snake said, and it got a sideways breath from Hal that might have been respect. When Hal's sedan left a clean rectangle of quiet, Margaret turned to Emma. School, she said. Half day to start. Emma's spoon paused over milk. Can I bring my backpack? You can, Margaret said. It's not a weapon, it's a plan. Chains scribbled a note for the teacher in block letters like a lineage. Asterisk. Asterisk. This child is in supervised placement. CPS caseworker. Margaret Stevens. Gal. Riley Hart. Emergency contacts attached. Call before you invent a policy. Asterisk asterisk. He added a smiley face. Because sometimes adults need the joke more than kids. The garage door rattled up another 6 inches. Sun made the dust confess its shape. The wind brought in sage and distant diesel, and a sound like someone practicing the trumpet wrong a county away. Let's post key at hour, Razor said, capping a marker with his teeth. He wrote, Quiet hour 17, 0018, ling ling, asterisk asterisk. Under it, no enginess, low voices, doors soft. Why? Emma asked, spoon clinking. So a room can make space for breathing, Razor said. She nodded, as if she already knew and wanted to hear him say it. She finished breakfast, like she understood food. Doesn't like to be rushed. Margaret signed herself out on the log as asterisk asterisk Depart School Transport 08, 43 asterisk asterisk, and took the driver's seat like someone who uses cars for work. Not freedom. Emma climbed in with the backpack buckled, because straps are promises too. You can draw in class, Margaret said, merging with a patience city people never learn. Pictures tell the truth in a way words forget. I'll draw the line, Emma said. Good choice. They came back just before lunch. School smell still on clothes. Emma's drawing sat on top of the backpack. 2 bands running the whole page, a broken white line down the middle of a road, and a soft, chalky bar of light angled across a floor. What's that second one? Chains asked, pointing. The light that tells dust where to go, Emma said. Serious. Demon coughed a laugh into his sleeve and failed. They ate in the common room because it was starting to believe its new name. Sandwiches stacked on a crate. Paper cups with lemonade sweating narrow rings. Margaret at the end of the makeshift table reading nothing, watching everything. School, okay? Razor asked, not making it bigger than it was. We drew the line, Emma said. Teacher put a star. Of course, Snake said. Stars are the teacher version of duct tape. After, the sheriff liaison stuck his head in hat in hand in the literal sense. And the other one, he signed the log, wrote asterisk asterisk purpose, check perimeter log, and evidence mirrors, asterisk asterisk, and scanned the posted rules like they owed him an apology. County got your hash. He said, DA's cold room signed receipt. You'll see the subpoena soon. We iron shirts for those now, Chains said. He did not sound thrilled. We're boring. The liaison said, court likes to forget you exist until you're on the stand. He left. The ledger got a diagonal signature that would be hard to fake later. Razor watched the door close. Then the light settled back into the room it had chosen. The day found chores. Demon mounted a CO sensor above the office door and wrote the installation date in Sharpie. Snake turned the old cash drawer into a med locker and stuck a printed log inside the lid. Chains took the biohazard bucket out back, like it was a small bomb, and came back empty-handed and quiet. At 3, Margaret's phone buzzed with a number that makes people sit up. She stepped into the office and came back with a clip. Guardian ad litem will be here at 4. Surprise inspection. We love surprises, Snake said. We practice them. Then show your work. Riley Hart arrived at 4:06 in flats built for courthouse stairs. She signed the ledger with neat disinterest and went small eyes at child height, fingers barely skimming corners. The way a safecracker listens for a click. Emergency plan, she said. Razor pointed. Smoke alarms. Chains reached up with a broom handle, and a chirp answered like a polite dog. Windows. He threw the quick release. The bar shot, and the window pushed on dry air. She timed it with a watch that kept its own counsel. Visitor log, she said. Snake handed it over with the pride of a man who finally likes a ruler. She traced **ID verified ** with the pen. Good. Add a column for it. We will, Snake said, already drawing a line. Riley crouched to Emma's level. I'm Riley, she said. I talk to judges so they don't forget. Kids are people. She waited. What happens here if you get scared after lights? I call, Emma said. Uncle Chains comes even if he's in the shower. He promised. Riley glanced up. Chains didn't blink. Promises are paperwork around here. What happens to medicine? Riley asked. Locked, Emma said. 2 signatures. What's in your backpack? Thermometer. Cards with numbers. Camera. That doesn't need a battery for the truth. Flashlight, she added. Snacks. Riley wrote Times comprehends safety plan times in a box that flagged the good kind of surprise. Okay, she said, standing. I'll be around. She left the same way she came, like a weather front that only brought measurements. The log closed over her name. The room expanded by a half-inch. Quiet hour, Razor said, checking the wall clock as if time might be tempted to lie. He turned down the radio that no one remembered turning on. Demon clicked off 2 shop lights. The bay held a hum. You feel more than here. Emma lay on the cot, backpack touching her calf. The nightmare came like a train you sense through the rails before you hear the horn. She sat up, breath short and fast, eyes looking for a car that wasn't here. Ground check, Razor said from the doorway. Where are you? The garage, she said, voice thin. Rules on the board. My bag. Your boots. Chains pretending he doesn't snore. I do not, Chains said from the stool without turning, which made Snake snort and the room forgive itself. Emma breathed in and out until air was just air again. I thought I heard the car, she whispered. Not tonight, Razor said. Tonight the car is stuck at a stoplight that never changes. She made a small face that might become a smile someday. By 6, the hour had done its work. The room relaxed the way a muscle does after carrying something heavy the right way. Margaret closed her laptop and wrote a single line on a sticky note. Times recommend supervised placement continues. Home checks daily first week. Asterisk, she didn't say it out loud, saying it could make the paper skittish. Evening drew a stripe across the floor at an angle that wanted to be measured. Emma stood and touched the edge of her drawing where the chalky bar crossed a room. She looked up at Razor. "Can I call her?" she asked. Palm on the backpack. "Out loud is fine," he said. "We'll mind our business." She faced the wall and spoke the way someone speaks to a doorway, because it is both a door and a way. "Hi, Mom," she whispered. "They posted rules. They said the numbers like they meant them. The light is here too. The dust is behaving." Snake looked like he might learn to like dust. The first stars showed up on the sliver of sky outside the high window. Chains wrote the night watch roster fresh. Ink heavier than needed. Arsha R. 0001 00RZR. Lingy 0004 00 Chain. Ling C. 00007 00 Snake. Asterisk asterisk. Under it, small, like a secret the board wanted to keep. Asterisk asterisk. Right like the future is tired. Razor killed one light and left the other, the one over the rules. The bay stood half lit, the chalky beam on the floor like a lane you could walk without counting. Emma slid the backpack strap through the cot leg again, felt the nylon bite her palm, and let it. She lay down and watched dust turn lazy in the light. "Boring wins," Snake said, not quite joking. "It better," Razor answered, and took the doorway like a job. By late afternoon, the light went nickel and stayed there, cold along the concrete, warm in the bikes. Emma curled on the cot with a library paperback whose cover had given up. The back of her neck ran hot. She pressed her palm there and looked around to see if the room noticed. It hadn't yet. Chains did. He saw heat the way other men see lies. "You look a little sun, kid," he said from the doorway. A paperback flattened against his thigh. "You hot?" "I'm okay," she said. The words floated. They didn't land. Snake drifted over, hand hovering near her temple without touching. "Feels warm," he said to the air. Demon fetched the thermometer from the med box he'd bolted to a column. He held it up like a trick the room already trusted. "Under the tongue," he said. "Not cheating." Emma smirked around plastic. The device beeped quick. 100.8. Demon read. Razor's head came up. Margaret's pen stopped mid-note. The room took a shared breath. Then everybody moved without bumping into anyone. "Okay," Razor said. "Sick protocol." He pointed to the laminated page taped beside the board. "Doc, clinic." Doc's nickname had come from a fight with a first aid kit years ago and stuck even after the jokes. He dialed the pediatric clinic and read off numbers like coordinates: child, 6, fever 100.8, no cough, breathing easy, weight, 47 pounds. He glanced at the scale they used for carburetors and confessions. Copy, fluides, acetaminophen per weight. Log teams. Watch the curve. Margaret stood by the cot, not in charge. Not stepped back, hands loose, face set to practical. 2 signatures per dose, she said. "I'll be one." Snake wrote asterisk asterisk 18. 12 acetaminophen weight-based dose per clinic signatures. Asterisk. Asterisk. And signed with block letters the future would recognize. Margaret signed beneath, neat and relentless. Emma drank water like her throat needed a treaty. She didn't argue about applesauce hiding the chewable. Chains set a big hand near her shin, close enough to anchor, far enough not to crowd. "You'll be okay, little warrior," he said. "Boring's gonna beat this." She nodded, eyelids heavy, hand sliding toward the backpack until her fingers found the strap. Nylon bit her palm. She let it. The garage adjusted itself. Demon lowered 2 shop lights until color slid off the chrome. Razor clicked the radio down to the ghost of a station that only remembered ghosts. The bay hummed the sound concrete makes when it wants you to rest. Temps on the hour, Razor said, writing it on the board, even though it already lived in everyone's head. Log. Even if nothing changes, nothing matters, Chains said, surprising himself with how true it sounded. At *** 1903 ***, the thermometer murmured. ***101. San, ***, clinic said, fluids, light blanket, cold baths. Notice the child, not just the number. Margaret wrote that Times noticed the child times as if she were carving it. Soup steamed. Steam softened the room. Emma took 2 spoonfuls. Let a third rest in her mouth, like she wasn't sure it had permission to be there. She swallowed and blinked slow. Story? Chains asked. You, Snake said, eyebrow high. I can read, Chains answered, wounded on behalf of the alphabet. He picked a thin picture book from a stack that hadn't known it would live in a garage. Gravel went soft. In a place with no sidewalks, he read, A girl learned to walk on lines. Emma's mouth tilted. The story worked the way some tools fit every bolt you thought was stripped. At ***20, 1 ***, the number climbed to ***, 102. Ling, ***. The curve tried to scare them. They didn't blink. Doc checked breathing, skin, eyes. Still with us, he said to the air. Demon tuned the station until a singer's voice laid itself down without asking for attention. The board gathered check marks like a responsible soul. Arsher, 10 water, 6 ounces tolerated. ***, Razor wrote the words. Small, tight, as if the pen had to pass inspection. Emma dozed, surfaced. Dozed. Mommy. Slipped out like a soft accident. She hears you, Chains said, not looking at anyone while he said it. At ***, 21. 0, 0, ***. Snake took the thermometer. E by Ling E. Luke, ***. He held it up like proof boredom worked. Curves bored, he said. Good. Margaret texted a log photo to Riley, no faces, just numbers and time and a clock that refused to lie. Temp peaked 102, 0. Now 101. Luke. Clinic advice followed. Child comfortable. She didn't add. They make rooms gentle. At ***, 22, 00 ***. The roster flipped. Razor took watch with a nod that said I was always coming. Chains stood, joints objecting, and stretched like a door that hadn't been opened in winter. Wake me if the number plays games, he said. The nightmare came as things do when rooms go quiet. Emma jerked and reached for a seatbelt that wasn't there. Razor was at the cot before the sound finished. Ground check, he said. Where are you? The garage, she whispered, breath too fast. Rules on the board, the white line on the floor, my bag, your boots. Good, he said. Count 5 breaths. I'll count with you. They counted. Air went from knife to cloth. I heard the car, she said. Not tonight, he said. Tonight the car's stuck at a red that forgot how to turn green. She gave him a look sideways that was almost a smile and almost a rehearsal for one. At ***, 23, 03. The thermometer gave ***, 100. Joe, ***. Demon wrote it. Doc nodded half-inch. Curves tired, he said. Snake stood at the open door where the roll-up left a rectangle of county night. Headlights slid past on the road and did not slow. Dust took the opportunity to practice being beautiful. Write it, Razor said without turning. Wrote it. Snake answered, pen already gone. At asterisk, asterisk, 0005. Asterisk, asterisk. The numbers slid under asterisk, asterisk 100. 4. Asterisk, asterisk. And the collective exhale tried not to wake anyone. Razor didn't smile. He drew a small square around the number and set the pen down like that was how you kept it. Margaret stood and gathered papers, paused at the board. She put a fingertip on asterisk, asterisk. Notice. The child asterisk, asterisk. And tapped it once, like a bell. I'll be back at 6, she said to the room. You don't have to say it, Razor murmured. We'll still be here. She signed out asterisk, asterisk, 0014 depart CPS asterisk, asterisk, and left the lamplight on the rules. At asterisk, asterisk, 0100 asterisk, asterisk. Chains returned, hair damp, skin pink, like he'd argued with a shower. He took the stool without ceremony. Go, he told Razor. You'll be useless heroic at 4 a.m. Razor went. Useless heroic stayed in the doorway for a second, and then found the chair by the bay that had learned the shape of trying. Emma slept. The backpack strap looped through the cot leg, her hand in the strap's crook. Nylon left a small ladder on her skin. She dreamt of walking it, one rung at a time, out of a car that never learned how to stop. At asterisk, asterisk, 0212. Asterisk, asterisk. Chains took a temp. He didn't announce loudly. Josha Joe. Bah. Asterisk, asterisk. He wrote it small and underlined once. You don't tempt the universe with big letters when it's being decent. Snake woke at asterisk, asterisk, 0357. Asterisk, asterisk. With the knowledge of a man who suspects himself when he's not on duty. He checked door, seals, child, chest, rising, clock honest, board square. He wrote, asterisk, asterisk, 04, 00, all quiet, asterisk, asterisk. The line looked like a prayer that dressed like inventory. The night changed color by half tones. Emma's eyes opened like hands opening, careful, ready to close if the room misbehaved. It didn't. Chains was a still mountain with a book. The white strip of light from the high window lay cold across the floor, and didn't ask anything of her. How's the world? Chains asked, keeping his voice under the light. Less hot, she said. She let Demon lift the thermometer without making a face. Joshua. Joe. Boredom wins, Snake said from the door, and let the smallest laugh out. Not cheering, no triumph clap. They let the number sit among them, like a chair pulled out for whoever needed it next. Doc called the clinic with the fact, like an accountant who'd learned to forgive math. Margaret's sedan took the lot's corner at 6, composed even in a hurry. Logs, she asked. Snake handed the ledger open to the fever column. She read time. Doce. Signatures. Notes times, eyes clear, breathing easy. Asleep Trian Vicet. 3000. Sure. Vater 6 os. Asterisk. Good, she said. Not praise. Confirmation. Emma sat up carefully, like waking up too fast might spill something. The world held. Her feet found concrete. She slipped the strap into her hand and counted the stitches with her thumb. Toast, Chains asked. With honey, she said, making it a plan instead of a wish. Snake nodded like Honey had just petitioned for a permit and been approved. By 8, the garage remembered sunlight, A soft breeze carried cut alfalfa from somewhere worth keeping. On the board, Razor wrote asterisk. Asterisk. Temp 05. Siling Joba. 9 asterisk asterisk. And, under it, smaller, Little Warriors Kit Rev. Thermometer. Contact cards. Disposable camera. Pen. Small flashlight. Asterisk, asterisk. He looked at the words until they agreed to live there. Hal swung by again with a second case and the look of a man you want in a crisis because he hates crisis. Duplicate to Worm. Off-site mirror, he said. They resealed, initialed, printed hashes big enough for tired eyes. He watched Emma draw a broken white line across an index card, while adults argued about custody of numbers. You like patterns, Hal asked her. I like rules, she said. Same thing on good days, he said. He left the case latched like a promise. By noon, the fever looked like a story someone else told. Emma's shoulders found their quiet. She sat with her drawing and shaded the chalky bar of light until it looked the way it felt. Razor brewed coffee that admitted its limits. The bikes held their tongues for quiet hours ghost. Hi, Mom, Emma said toward the wall, voice clean. Not brave for once, just hers. They wrote it all down. The number went down because the rules told it to. The light is still here. The dust is behaving. Snake took a photo of the board because tomorrow always asks what you did today. The shutter made that small, humane click. That sounds like a room telling you it will remember for you. Evening slid in soft. The nickel tone warmed into brass. The white line on the floor turned gold for 10 minutes and then forgot. Emma tucked the index card asterisk asterisk, no plug without blocker. Asterisk asterisk, drawn in a box behind the front pocket mesh of the backpack. You could see it if you were looking for it. You wouldn't if you weren't. Right, like the future is tired. Chains read from the tiny script he'd added under the roster. He looked to see if anyone would argue. No one did. Razor killed one light and left one, the one over the rules, because it never hurts to remind a room what language it's learning. The bay settled around a new number, mean as averages get. One more night survived. Logged. Boring. Dust turned in the strip without apology. Emma slid her hand through the loop again, felt the nylon pull, and let it tell her skin, here, here, here. By noon, the light had sharpened into something that showed fingerprints on everything steel. Mugs, the whiteboard, a sedan eased to a stop across the scrub, black paint drinking sun, windows deep enough to swallow a face. It idled for one patient minute, then killed the engine, and sat like a decision. Snake clocked it without turning his head. He wrote on the ledger in a hand that had learned to print for people who don't forgive. Shirar, 22 sedan. BLK, partial plate 19. 6. B. 8. Idle 1. 02 no contact. Asterisk asterisk, he added. Asterisk asterisk observer. Asterisk asterisk SNK. Asterisk. Asterisk. Direction. Asterisk asterisk west shoulder. He didn't say the quiet thing that pricked the back of his neck. Inside, the shop smelled like coffee and laundry soap, fighting a draw. Demon clicked a new CO sensor into place above the office door, wrote the install date with a Sharpie that still remembered high school. Chains checked the seals on the evidence pouches without touching plastic. Red tabs lay flush. Numbers legible. Corners clean. He lifted the tablet, snapped stills, each bag, each number. The wall clock framed in the edge like a witness who doesn't care who wins. Assistant District Attorney Keene arrived in court shoes that hated gravel and a tie that refused to be interesting. He signed the visitor log, printed letters. like a man afraid of photocopiers. He took in the rules, the medlocker, the roster. "Okay," he said. "Tell me the boring parts." Razor pointed to the bench. "Drive resealed, a 203 after hash with county IT. Knife A. 197. Weapon A 199. Photos at the moment of sealing. Time stamped on video and still. Chain shows custodian. Time. Item. Signatures. We can rehearse the order in our sleep. You will," Keene said. He set his legal pad on a clean fender, eyed the high windows beams striping the floor. "Defense will try to suppress everything that breathes. If you treat adjectives like a disease and stick to nouns and clocks, I get to keep your facts." "Nouns and clocks," Snake repeated. "We're fluent." A phone rattled on the bench. Snake's screen lit with an unsaved number and a message that wore cheap bravado. Asterisk, asterisk, give back the drive. The girl stays quiet. He didn't touch the glass. He slid the phone onto a clean shop towel as if it had teeth. "Threat," he said. Margaret crossed from the whiteboard in 2 steps. Voice already in form mode. Photograph before interaction. Include banner with time. Then forward to the sheriff liaison from your device. While we film. Document that you didn't alter. Note header preserved. Chains lifted the tablet. The shutter registered once, then again for the overkill that keeps courtrooms polite. Snake read the text aloud, as Margaret wrote it word for word on the log. Letters blunt. Keene looked from screen to phone to Emma's backpack, like a man counting exits. "Plate on that sedan?" he asked without looking at the door. "Partial," Snake said. "We logged it. Start a perimeter log." Keene said. "Idle cars. Drones. Deliveries that smell like strangers. Times. Direction. Duration. Who saw what we did? Your boring needs friend." "Already a column," Snake said. He drew a ruler line. Printed. Asterisk, asterisk, parameter log. Asterisk, asterisk, and under it. Asterisk, asterisk, date. Time, observer, event. Action. The black sedan slid away before the deputy arrived. The cruiser rolled past 5 minutes later. A public shrug. Snake wrote, asterisk, asterisk, deputy, notified. No contact. Plate. Inconclusive. Asterisk, asterisk, and underline times. Inconclusive times. The way you underline a thing you plan to beat with persistence. Keene flipped a page. "Walk me through what you'll say on the stand." He pointed at Razor. "Not your story, your steps. Suspects detained by others. Not me." Razor said. "Scene secured. Items isolated. Knife bagged a 197. Label and time. Read aloud. Photographed. Firearm. A 199. Same. USB sealed. A 198. Temporary. Resealed a 203. After hashing, witnessed by county IT and recorded. Custody transfers documented at each step. Words you don't use?" Keene said. "Ledger proved they're bad." Razor said. "We say it contained files later mirrored and hashed. We don't say he looked guilty. We say he had a gun and raised his voice." "And good," Keene said. He glanced at chains, photos, angles, serials, seals, clock. Chains said. "No filters, no cropping that crops truth." Keene nodded, turned to Emma sitting at the crate with crayons lined like soldiers. "And you," he said, softer, careful not to make her a question. "You don't need to say anything." She looked at the backpack. "I know," she said. "The pictures talk." The garage door rattled. Hal from County IT backed in with another gray case. and a face built for incremental salvation. Mirror for cold storage, he said. One to clerk's vault, one to DA's refrigerator that thinks it's a safe. Witness signatures on both. They worked the ritual. Demon read the seal code before breaking it. Hal filmed his hands. Margaret called times. Razor repeated item descriptions like a catechism. Hal slotted the drive into the write blocker, waited while the recorder spun stories into numbers, printed the hash, held it to light like it could confess. They resealed, pressed red tabs flat, initialed lines, made paper heavier with the right kind of ink. Why 2 mirrors? Emma asked, more for the lines she was drawing than for her mouth. So if someone makes one disappear, the story still has a voice, Hal said. You don't let a single witness tell it alone. Emma put a second white strip on the index card and shaded it lighter. 2 lanes, same road. They broke for sandwiches that would never be famous. Keen chewed, like a man who knows diets can wait while justice eats. He pointed his chin toward the visitor log. Add a line, ID verified. A pickup name and a scribble mean nothing. When a defense attorney is hunting in the tall grass, Snake reached for a ruler. On it, he printed **ID, verified when in type. **, and drew thin boxes to shame future sloppy. Another text landed on Snake's toweled phone, uglier for trying harder. **. You think badges save you? That girl cost us years. **. Hal angled his own lens. Margaret copied the words in blunt block, wrote **. Forwarded to liaison 14. 23. Asterisk, and asterisk. Headers preserved asterisk, and asterisk. No response sent. Asterisk. Keen's pen ticked. He didn't look at Emma. He put his gaze on the rule sheet, the way you look at a dam when the rains start. Toward 3. Riley stepped in unannounced and signed the log like she was paying a toll. Surprise inspection number 2. She ran the tape on the quick release window 2 seconds to daylight. She timed a smoke detector's shriek. She asked Emma to point to the emergency route. Emma pointed, left, then left, to the pole camera. With its bug-eye patience, keep that muscle memory, Riley said. Brains panics. Feet? Remember? Put that on a shirt, Snake said. Only if you get the font right, Margaret said. The deputy who ran the partial plate returned with a printout and a shrug practiced to death. Fleet Rental, he said. Shell companies nesting like dolls. We'll keep a car nearby for a while. Write it, Razor said. Snake wrote, asterisk patrol. Increased through dusk, asterisk, and drew a small square around it so no one could miss the part where people promised to look. At 4:30, Keen gathered his pad and shoehorned Law back into his tie. Hearing soon, he said. Suppression first, then the thing itself. Expect attacks on chain, on character, on the idea of you. He tapped the board with the back of the pen. This rules. Roster. Emergency plan. The word asterisk, boring asterisk, crooked in the corner is armor. Keep it polished. He left a small USB with a sticker asterisk, discovery hold. Asterisk, and a weary smile. He didn't wait to see if anyone had a better joke. Evening drew its long ruler along the floor. The black sedan returned for a minute, far down the road. A dot. Practicing patience. Snake wrote it without editorial. Schutzie, 08 Blake sedan again dear. East, shoulder 0. 40. E três no contact, asterisk, asterisk. Chains called the sheriff liaison with the same voice he used for ordering brake pads. We stay boring. He said, you swing by when the odometer says they set asterisk, asterisk, quiet hour. Asterisk, asterisk, without being told, engine slept, voices folded. Demon turned 2 lamps down and left the rules light up like a litany. Emma sat with a fresh index card and wrote asterisk, asterisk, parameter, log. Asterisk, asterisk at the top, for her own keeping, then drew a small camera, with a smile that wasn't unserious. Margaret took a chair where she could see the door and the cot and the board at once, and took a breath. She didn't have to spend immediately. She watched the men making lists and not speeches, and knew the recommendation had already written itself hours ago when no one was looking. "Hi, Mom," Emma said toward the painted cinder block, where the light made a square like a window that forgot how to open. If the screen is dark, we ask why. If the cars wait, we write it. They keep the numbers clean. The dust is behaving. Half an hour later, a church lady with a tin of brownies appeared and signed the log asterisk asterisk purpose. Drop food. Encourage. Asterisk. Asterisk. And held Snake's eye long enough to make him uncomfortable in a way he wouldn't admit. He put the tin near the coffee and wrote asterisk, asterisk allergies. None known asterisk asterisk, because even mercy needs a column. At 7, the sheriff liaison leaned on the roll-up and signed asterisk asterisk purpose, perimeter pass asterisk asterisk, and told them the rental company, the shell games, the way professional men fail to be original under pressure. They'll poke the fence, he said. Don't be where their poke wants you. We're a wall, Razor said, not a story. The liaison's mouth twitched. Keep it that way. Night took the color out of the beam. The floor forgot it had shine once. The white strip down the middle turned into a dull bone. Emma tucked the new card. Asterisk, asterisk, parameter log. Asterisk, asterisk, in her own hand behind the mesh of the backpack's front pocket, next to asterisk, asterisk. No plug without blocker. Asterisk, asterisk. The kit changed shape without changing weight. Snake took one last photo of the board rules. Roster. The day's little history. Threats logged. Hashes mirrored. Said unnoted. Brownies acknowledged. The shutter made that kind, human sound that says, someone will remember in the morning. Lights, Razor said, leaving the one over the rule. The beam from the high window thinned to nothing. The printed letters glowed soft, steady, like they were lit from underneath by stubbornness. Dust turned where the light used to be. Emma threaded her hand through the strap loop and felt the nylon bite her palm in 4 little teeth. A truck downshifted somewhere far and unimportant. They let the room hold itself. The sedan didn't come back. The brownies went into Tupperware with a label. The ledger closed for the day with a weight that didn't threaten. The rules looked back and didn't blink. 2 taps and a pause, official without theater. Razor wiped his hands on a rag that had retired from usefulness and opened to a woman in a navy blazer with shoes built for hallways and lawns. Guardian ad litem, she said, showing an ID. Riley Hart. Call me Riley. She didn't smile. She let the room introduce itself. Rules laminated and posted. The med locker bolted to a column. The night watch roster in block letters large enough to read from a bad day. The quick-release latch on the office window. Visitor log on a stool by the door with a pen that didn't wander. Snake tapped the book. Sign in, he said. Date, time, name, purpose, signature. We added ID later. Fonts a little proud. Riley wrote in square, merciless letters R. Heart 10, 1-gallon home study, and came inside like weather you plan around. Clipboard up, eyes down, then up again. She walked the bay small, knee spent, palm hovering 2 inches above edges, the way a safecracker listens for a click. Emergency plan, she asked, razor pointed, laminated, 2 pages, contacts stacked, route to the clinic drawn like a vein, split duties printed who calls, who anchors, who goes with the child. Contingencies for fire, severe weather, intruder, a line at bottom, asterisk. If it isn't written, it didn't happen. Riley paced to the office, flicked the quick release bar. The bar jumped. The window shouldered the outside. She timed the swing with her watch and let the second hand settle. She wrapped the smoke detector with a broom handle. It answered like a wounded whistle. A CO sensor above the door blinked green as if trying to be encouraging. Medication, she said. Demon keyed the lockbox, opened both hands. Thermometer, acetaminophen, ibuprofen, measuring syringes in a neat row. Dosing chart taped to the lid. A log, columns filled with time. Dose, weight, signatures. The pages were clean where they weren't full. Visitor log, Riley asked. Snake passed it like an animal he trusted. Sheriff liaison, county IT, Ada, church lady with a tin of brownies, delivery drivers with reason. Parts, a mechanic who left quickly when the air said the day needed fewer of him. A column newly added, asterisk, asterisk, id verified, YN, and type. Riley kept her face neutral, but her pen approved. Add a box for times purpose completed asterisk, initialed, judges like tidy loops. Snake reached for a ruler. On it, he said, drawing a line straight enough to appear inevitable. She crouched to Emma's height at the crate table where crayons stood in ranks. I'm Riley, she said. I talk to judges so they remember kids are people. Can I ask 3 things? 3? Emma said, because numbers are fences that keep things from running. First, what happens if you feel scared at night? I call, Emma said. Uncle Chains comes even if he's in the shower. It's a rule. Chains, who had been trying to appear smaller than physics allowed, raised 2 fingers. Every time, he said, even if I got soap in my eyes. Second, what happens to medicine? Locked, Emma said. 2 signatures. She pointed at the log. They write big so tired eyes can read. Third, what's inside the backpack? Riley asked. Thermometer, contact cards, disposable camera, flashlight, pen. Emma hesitated. Snacks, evidence. Riley didn't blink like some adults do at that word in a small mouth. She wrote something that looked like Times Comprehends safety kit. Language mirrors. Caregiver. Asterisk. Okay, she said, standing. Show me your route. Emma led office. Latch. Left. Left. The sheriff's poll camera watching without deciding. Riley timed how long it took a child to make it to the strip of county gravel. She wrote the number down. She didn't say it out loud. They walked the perimeter, the black sedan that liked to pretend nothing meant something. Didn't show. The new poll camera panned in its lazy way. Riley noticed ducted cords secured against the wall. Corners padded, the toolbox lid latched. A tripping hazard, the width of a coin lived by the compressor. Demon moved the hose without being told. She marked it anyway. The future, notoriously petty, appreciates this kind of pettiness. What happens if someone on night watch doesn't show? She asked without looking at anyone. Doesn't happen. Chains said. Say it does, Riley said. Voice soft enough to land and heavy enough to dent. Then you call up. Razor said. Write the miss. Write the cover. Call Margaret in the morning. Pretending a miss didn't happen is how stories end wrong. Riley's chin went up a millimeter. Good, she said. Stories that know their evidence behave better. They returned to the board. Margaret arrived between sentences in her day, signed the log, and placed 3 copies of things that make offices feel useful: consent forms for school, clinic release, a checklist that didn't insult anyone's intelligence. Half day, she said. Art project, asterisk. What makes a family special, asterisk. We'll bring a note so the front office doesn't invent policies. We love policies, Snake said. We just prefer the kind the law knows about. Emma slid her arms into the backpack straps and checked the weight reflexively. Snake knelt to adjust a strap, stopped an inch away. Let her do it. You got it, he said. I know, she said, testing the zipper like it could lie. Riley watched the exchange and wrote nothing. Some notes go in a column without paper. They returned after 11 with construction paper and that dusting of glitter that never respects jurisdiction. Emma set the sheet on the crate. It wasn't people inside her box. It was rules, protection, love, being there, teaching right-wrong. In the corner, logs, underlined, and a rectangle that could be a camera or a window, depending on what the day asked. Gold star, Snake said. We don't give stars for survival, Margaret said gently, but her mouth softened. We give Tuesday for survival, and maybe lasagna. Riley did her second surprise the way good surprises do, without a drum roll. She walked in at 14:37 and signed without ceremony. The quick release released in 2 seconds and change. The smoke detector screamed on cue. She pointed to the emergency route. Emma pointed back. She looked at the board. Someone had added Times ID, verified times to the log, and a new sheet asterisk, asterisk, intruder plan quiet. Asterisk, asterisk, had been taped up like a decal at eye level. What do you do if someone tries the door? Riley asked Emma. Office, Emma said. Window. Left. Left. Who goes with you? Whoever's on watch. If they're not there, I go, Emma said, and didn't apologize for surviving without permission. Riley kept control of her face the way professionals do when the better answer still has teeth. You won't be alone, she said to the room, which is a way of promising a child without lying to physics. She seated herself at the crate, which felt like an odd altar, and made small talk with Emma that wasn't about talking. It was about assessing respiration and eye contact, and the way hands rest or don't. She stood, clicked, her pen closed, and looked at Margaret. I keep my skepticism, she said. I'm moving my chair. Margaret's eyebrow wrote 2 paragraphs. Riley didn't annotate them. She signed R. Art surprise, visit C's. 55 and left. Afternoon rearranged itself around checklists. Doc installed a second CO monitor, because redundancy is a crush that keeps you alive. Demon stuck foam on the last sharp corner that refused to admit it was sharp. Snake practiced the Times intruder times script under his breath. Who calls, who anchors, who escorts, who holds the door. Where we do not engage beyond securing the child lives in his bones. The phone rang with the kind of ring older landlines made when they wanted to be part of the show. The school counselor checked in Emma's affect, regulated. Appetite back. Nightmares less frequent. She drew a road. The counselor said, she said, it's for when the rest forgets what it's for. Sounds like her. Razor said, writing times, school, called times with the date, because pleasant conversations also deserve witnesses. A parish volunteer arrived with 2 fire extinguishers, tags current, and an apology for believing rumors before facts. Chains mounted them by the exit, and the electrical panel and marked the install on the board. Snake wrote asterisk asterisk, check monthly asterisk asterisk, and then set an alarm for 3, because alarms forgive fewer mistakes than memory. Near 5, Emma studied the crate like it might betray her. Quiet hour rolled in. Engines dimmed to a rumor. She pressed a finger to the backpack strap and felt nylon answer. "Hi, Mommy," she said to the wall, where the high window made a rectangle that had decided to be gentle. They timed the latch. They timed the loud thing that hates smoke. They made me draw the path 2 times. And then once with my eyes closed, it felt like cheating until it didn't. No one moved. Margaret touched her pen to the clipboard without writing. Sometimes you make noise with an object so your face doesn't make it for you. After quiet, they ate sandwiches that would never be famous. Riley returned with a 1-page addendum. Asterisk, asterisk, community partnership conditions reporting evidence handling visitor vetting. Asterisk, asterisk. It read like a fence around a garden instead of prison rules. Razor signed. Snake initialed near asterisk asterisk, no firearms in common. Room asterisk asterisk, as if to make a joke behave. Margaret countersigned. Riley added times, valid 90 days. Review thereafter. Congratulations, she said dryly. You're boring on paper. Finally, Snake said. Before she left, Riley knelt again. One more, she said to Emma. What makes a family special? Protection, Emma said, as if reciting a truth that would stand in any room. Love, being there, teaching right from wrong. Her eyes flicked to the board, then to the men, then to Margaret, and writing it down so tired eyes can still see. Riley rose without letting her knees complain, went to the door, and paused. Feet remember, she said, echoing her own earlier line like it had decided to be a proverb. Keep practicing. The door closed with the sound of a day that had been heavy and decided not to brag. Razor turned one light off and left the rules lit. The beam from the high window slid long and thinned and let dust perform for a minute. Picture, Chains asked, lifting the tablet. Not for evidence, Emma said. For us, Snake said. Her mouth found something small and true. The shutter whispered. The image caught rules. Roster. 2 extinguishers with red tags. A quick-release bar that gleamed. A laminated plan that looked unromantic and necessary. And a child with a backpack. Not as shield or shrine, but as kit. Night began measuring itself along the floor. Emma hung the bag on the hook and listened for the squeak that said it belonged. It obliged, and then kept quiet. She touched the zipper once. Hi, Mommy, she said, voice for one listener, who hasn't broken a promise in a year. They moved their chairs. The courtroom smelled like pressed wool and old lemon. Flax didn't ripple. Time didn't either. A brass clock high on paneled oak kept minutes like evidence without commentary. Asterisk, State v. Rodriguez et al. Motion to suppress. Razor took the aisle seat because you never cede an aisle. Snake sat behind him, hands flat on his knees. Tattoos quiet, chains faced forward, jaw set to neutral. Margaret and Riley flanked a small figure with a pink strap across her chest. The backpack rested in Emma's lap like a seatbelt. Assistant District Attorney Keene stood in the sort of tie a judge can forgive. Defense counsel, Pratt's silver hair combed for television that wasn't here, smiled at the bench like he'd brought dessert. Counsel, Judge Marjorie Albright said, voice clip, unimpressed with dessert. Pratt rose. The defense moves to suppress 3 categories of so-called evidence: a kitchen knife, digital images allegedly taken by a minor, and a USB storage device allegedly containing ledger data, we submit contamination, irreparable breaks in chain of custody, and a civilian vigilante theory, colorful perhaps, not constitutional. Keene didn't look at Pratt. He looked at the clock. The state will meet Rule 901 and 403. Identity prove. Chain intact. Any blemishes go to weight, not admissibility. Proceed, Judge Albright said. Keene called Hal first. County IT in a thrift store suit that made honesty look heavy. Hal swore in, palms dry. Deputy Halverson, Keene said, walk us through the right block capture and hash procedure applied to the USB. Hal spoke like a man reading torque specs. Right blocker model. Worm recorder. SHA-256 hash printed at time of capture. Seal broken A198 in view. Resealed A203. Mirror created to clerk's vault and DA cold room. Exhibit photos and teared timestamps hard in the corner. Pratt rose with a gentle sound that wanted to be predatory. Deputy, can sloppy civilian practice compromise integrity? Yes, Hal said, it can. And did you observe any such sloppiness? I observed a potential misread of a log digit later corrected by contemporaneous photographs and matching hashes. Misread, Pratt said, savoring it. Thank you. Keene didn't flinch. Chain of custody liaison testified next citure. Temporary custody. Transfer on arrival. Dates. Times. Names. No adjectives. Then razor. He swore, eyes level. Scar. A fact among facts. Describe your steps after suspects were detained. Keene said, secured the room. Razor said, isolated items. Bagged the knife in a clear pouch. Applied tamper seal. A 197. Read time allowed. 02. Circe. Archeluk. Rote custodian. Item. Time. Photographed seal and item. Firearms sealed a 199 with gloves. USB sealed a 198 pending hash. Then resealed a 203 after hashing with county IT, H-step logged. Pratt approached with a look that sells books. Mr. Rodriguez, how many times have you been a police officer? 0. Felony convictions on your record. Yes. And yet, you conducted what you now wish this court to believe is a Times police caliber Times evidence intake. I kept our hands off. I told people which boring thing mattered next. Boring, Pratt repeated. A word that will be tested. Keene called chains. Mr. Chainwell, did you photograph each item at the moment of sealing? Yes, Chains said, voice smaller than his frame. Angles, serials, suspects' faces, seals, shop clock in frame. Edit anything. No. Pratt drifted over. Mr. Chainwell, what's the difference between a picture that persuades and a picture that proves? Proof doesn't need me to talk. Chains said, it brings its own voice. Keene called Snake last. Snake stood, swore, swallowed, placed knife into a 197. He said, log time, custodian, item, firearm, a 199, drive, a 198. Later atuhundla a tray after hash. Pratt slid a photocopy onto the rail like a trap. Defense Exhibit D. The log you wrote in the middle of the night. He lifted it for the judge. The copy's blacks had bled like regret. The 8 looked like a 9. Mr. Snake, Pratt said, delighted. Did you write A198 or A189? Snake stared at the smear. He knew what he'd written. The copier wanted a different story. I wrote A198. He said, the copy looks like a 189, so your log is unreliable. No, Snake said. Your copy is. A huff went around the gallery that wanted to be laughter. The judge's gavel touched wood once, air obeyed. Redirect, Keene said smoothly. Mr. Snake, were time-stamped photos taken of the seal immediately after you wrote it. Yes. Do those photos show a 198? Yes. Let's see them, Judge Albright said. Chains handed up still. The screen flashed under the flat courtroom light, a gloved hand holding a pouch. Asterisk. A 198 times black and whole under shop fluorescence. The cheap digital camera half in frame, the wall clock reading 02. Certi. A second still after hashing asterisk. A 203 times bright, a county witness card like a watermark in the back. Keene turned to Hal. Deputy, do the worm recorder logs reflect the same device sealed under a 198? Then, at 203. Matching hash before and after. They do, Hal said. Hash matches on mirrors. Photographs match seals. Custody signatures match times. Pratt tried a new door. The digital images themselves, self-authenticating or subject to mischief by a minor child and men with a motive. They aren't hearsay, Keene said before Hal could answer. We authenticate by metadata, device serial, unedited file structure, and testimony. The court can examine EXIF data and chain. Pratt spread his hands in a gesture that lost its religion. Fruit of the poisonous tree. He tried. A child coached. Men in leather, performing law. Fruit requires a tree, Judge Albright said. I see a community that bagged instead of bragged, called the sheriff, and invited scrutiny. The state met Rule 901. The motion is. She paused long enough to be dramatic without liking herself for it. Denied, as to all three. Defense can test weight at trial. Mr. Snake, she added, turning without warmth, print your numbers like the future is tired. Yes, Your Honor, Snake said, and the tips of his ears went hot. The gavel tap, light as a pencil check. People stood because that's what rooms like this demand. Snake didn't. He stared at the photocopy until the smudged 8 swallowed the page. Razor looked back. He didn't talk a small mercy. Demon's hand brushed Snake's elbow. One beat. Done. A tiny pressure on Snake's sleeve. Emma, small as a rule written right, leaned just enough. Uncle Snake, she whispered. Only for him. The pictures talked. They left the courthouse under a sky that pretended it had never held sirens. Keene walked with the careful gait of a man who knows victory breeds carelessness if you let it. Good work, he said, which meant, your redundancy saved us. Never hand me a log that allows a photocopier to invent a digit again. We fix the part we can fix. Demon said, we'll preprint seal ranges. Razor answered, boxes big as trucks. Cross out numbers we don't use. Photograph the log as we write it. We don't let a copier get a vote. Teach your hands to slow down, Margaret said, not unkind. Tired eyes need wide letters. Back at the garage, the beam from the high window laid a chalk stripe across concrete. The board got new ink. Supresión de Nied. Knife asiento. 97 USB. A 203 cámara J. Albright. Asterisk asterisk under it. Snake printed. Slow and stubborn. Asterisk asterisk. Right. Like the future is tired. Asterisk asterisk. He taped a fresh template beside the chain of custody sheet. Asterisk asterisk. Seal numbers. Pre-assigned. Asterisk asterisk. A 210/20. A 220 in boxes. So big, even a copier would be shamed. Hal dropped a laminated copy of the hash values at eye level and left the originals locked where climate control makes honesty easier. Chains printed stills of A198 and A203 and pinned them next to times no plug without blocker asterisk. Red tabs in photos gleamed like healed cuts. They didn't pop anything. Parties were for endings. This was a door that stayed latched. Emma slid the backpack onto its hook and listened for the small squeak that said it belonged. It obliged. She stood under the board and read the judge's line out loud once. Careful like a spell. Write like the future is tired. Say it again. Snake said, mouth bent almost into a smile. She did. He picked up the marker and wrote slower than his hand liked. Letters square enough to be evidence by themselves. The room watched, without pretending not to. Keen called on his way back to the office. Voice flattened by speaker. They'll try a different angle, he said. Character, pressure, motive. Don't editorialize. Don't help. Nouns and clocks. Nouns and clocks. Razor said. Night came in pieces. The sheriff did a slow roll past the scrub. The idle Seddon didn't show. The brownies from last week were gone, replaced by something labeled Times Bars. Times that tasted better than the word deserved. Margaret updated a calendar hearings in ink. Therapy and pencil. Not because it was optional, but because life redraws lines. Picture, Chains asked. Not for court, Snake said. For us? Chains said. He framed the board judge's denial. The new template, the motto written twice on purpose. The beam from the high window laid a white line through the bottom of the frame like a road that doesn't leave. Emma stepped into the edge of it, not posing, only existing the way light expects. Click. The shutter made a soft, decisive sound. Dust turned in the stripe like proof of something most people don't write down. Outside, somewhere, a truck downshifted. A dull roll of thunder with obligations. Inside, red seals lay flush. Numbers legible. Corners clean. The backpack hung on its hook. The rules stared back and refused to blink. The interrogation room carried a color you couldn't name, something between hospital tile and winter sky. Fluorescence hummed like insects that lived too long. The table punished fidgeting. No clock. Time lost the right to speak here. He sat cuffed, jaw freshly shaved as if dignity could be rebuilt with a razor. Paper called him Daniel Rodriguez. The bracelet indent on his left wrist said otherwise. Pride made his shoulders square. The night had sanded them down. Assistant D.A. Keene set a yellow pad on the table and didn't click his pen. Detective Laird leaned against the corner. A tall warning. The recorder's red LED blinked steadily. An eye that never tires. You asked to talk, Keene said. My lawyer, the man started. Words trying to outrun themselves. Isn't in the room? Keene said. We're not bargaining today. We're listening. If you want a proffer, bring counsel. Today, you wanted to talk. He left the sentence on the table like a tool. Rodriguez stared at the LED like he could will it dark. You've got nothing, he said, finding a ledge. You keep saying that, Laird observed. We keep counting. Not my ledger. Rodriguez said. I pour concrete. Sometimes other things. That's not illegal if you don't get caught. A smirk that aged too quickly. Silence did the work. He leaned into it. You think you can keep her? He asked finally, finding the wound. That little his mouth halted at something even he knew the recorder hated. She cost me everything. What's everything? Keene asked, voice out of breath from a jog no one saw. 28 grand. To a man who doesn't wait 2 days without interest. Crew walked, mortgage chewing through drywall. Brother-in-law who talks like the radio. His throat clicked. You think I don't know what you're doing. Tell me about the drive, Keene said. Back up. Rodriguez said too fast, grabbing a script. We keep the real one where you can't find it. Where? Laird asked casually. Rodriguez's grin had more teeth than sense. Where it won't delete itself when you touch it. The room shifted. A coin turning. Delete itself, Laird said, like a toy with a tantrum. Pride stepped in front of caution. You think we're stupid, Rodriguez said. Cops love plug and pray. We got tricks that were old 5 years ago. You plug that thing into anything that isn't yours. It wipes pretty. Keene didn't let satisfaction show. Interview suspended. He told the recorder. He clicked it off. Some sentences belong in a memo, not in a transcript. In the hall, the soda machine coughed metallic failure. Laird scribbled 2 words on his palm with a dying pen. Asterisk, asterisk. Wipe trap, asterisk, asterisk. Defense will scream entrapment if we go fishing. Keene said, we won't fish. We'll verify what we did right. And we'll find the real ledger, Laird said, where it can't erase itself. The laundromat ran hot and constant. Washers spun like cheap planets. The bulletin board held lost dogs and a lost ring that didn't want to be found. Margaret didn't sit. She stood with a styrofoam cup, the color of decisions, and studied nothing in particular. He sat near the back, gray hoodie, face that practiced not being remembered. He didn't look up when she took the chair 2 seats away. You, Riley? He asked without turning. No, she said, which means you brought the wrong script and found the right woman. He exhaled a laugh that had been arrested too many times. I don't talk to cops. I'm not a cop, Margaret said. I show up when the thing after the thing happens. If you want absolution, church is 2 blocks over. If you want a way out, you'll need a pen and the ability to keep your mouth shut later. He slid an envelope across the gap. It landed like a compromise. Bought me 2 years of sleep. Maybe, he said. Name's Cal. It doesn't matter. What do you want? Cal, queen for a day, he said. Words borrowed from a TV he didn't like. No snitch tattoo. Boring safe house. And him, the word rotted in his mouth. Stop. I can't gift wrap federal magic from a laundromat, Margaret said. I can call Keene. I can ask a task force for paper that holds. Cal nodded. Don't meet me at a courthouse, he said. I'm not ready to be a face. Put a letter at the church office on Maple. Back door. Noon. Nobody in a suit. You know how hard it is to get a lawyer in jeans? She asked. You know how hard it is to get dead? He asked. She didn't wince. What's in the envelope? A key, he said. Not mine. Pride lives in box 417. He thinks Steele forgives. It doesn't. Safe deposit needs a warrant, Margaret said. We're not cowboys. Get your judge, he said. I'll get small. He stood, left a dryer spinning, and became air. The machines finished, and announced it like a parade no one came to see. A junior AUSA who owned good boots signed a 1-page proffer with every caveat. A state judge who used to teach criminal procedure initialed a warrant at 12. Archer, the language narrow and hard. Asterisk, asterisk. Search and seizure. Box 417, First Central, Maple and 6th, asterisk, asterisk, affidavit, ongoing conspiracy, credible source corroborated by threats, admissions by defendant regarding self-wiping media, need to secure mirror before tamper. At 12, Sishaluk, a bank manager with hands like allowances and a locksmith with a second key, stood in a vault where carpet pretends money's clean. Dust smelled like higher education. Box 417, the manager said. He didn't ask questions. He didn't want answers. The locksmith set his picks with the patience of someone who courts metal for a living. The lock gave up politely. Chain began where chain must. Laird narrated to a body cam. Entering per warrant. 12:49. Witness present. Contents as found. Keane filmed wide with his phone. A second angle for when defense counsel tries adjectives. Inside. A leather ledger thick with sweat oil and pencil ghosts. A micro SD card in a translucent pill bottle. Cash in rubber bands that hated tax season. A photograph of a girl with a backpack that wasn't pink, a different girl, a different year. The same decision, catalog and seal. Keane said, the ledger into B417, red tamper strip pressed until adhesive spidered. The pill bottle into B418. Currency into B419, not because money is shy, but because order convinces juries. County Lab welcomed the micro SD like a dangerous newborn. Hal wore gloves in reverence. The card went into a right blocker with the solemnity of communion. The monitor bloomed directories. Asterisk, asterisk journals, asterisk, asterisk, wire, asterisk, asterisk vendor, asterisk, asterisk names that tried to sound innocent. Mirror, Hal said, and the recorder obeyed. Numbers spilled slow and exact. Hash, Shah, 2, 5, 6. He read, printing a strip that smelled faintly of heat. He signed it. Keane countersigned. The strip slid into a sleeve like a passport that doesn't lie. Look, Hal said, zooming the partition map. See that tiny second block? Not data, firmware callout. If volume serial doesn't match our blocker's profile, poof, it flips a flag and wipes the table. Pseudo-random wipe, masked as corruption. Not smart, just mean. So if defense tests our exhibit on a laptop, they shouldn't, Laird asked. It tidies itself to empty, Hal said, unless you already made a worm mirror and kept your hashes, which you did. He didn't say because you finally listen. He didn't need to. They documented discovery with a boring that could be audited. Photos, seals, witness cards in frame like watermarks. The hash numbers went on the board in Hal's office, on the clerk's vault log, in Keane's case file, under a red tab labeled asterisk, asterisk, integrity, asterisk, asterisk, because irony gets you killed in court by late afternoon. A paralegal in a glass tower plugged a copy of the state's drive into a hungry laptop. The malicious flag did its job. The drive emptied itself obediently. Someone wrote asterisk, asterisk state. Discovery corrupted. Asterisk, asterisk, with an exclamation point. Keane got the email as a courtesy. He replied with the worm hash, Labviteo, Hal's kindergarten explanation in bullet points, and a subject that didn't blink. Asterisk, asterisk. Not corrupted. Nice try. Somewhere. A door closed too hard. Somewhere. A senior partner told a junior to sit in his hands. Cal did not sleep. He sat on a motel bed, with a floral spread that had outlived 3 owners and a dozen infidelities. His phone stayed dark. He closed his eyes at 03:14 and dreamed of numbers, trying to be other numbers. He woke with his hands flat, as if a judge had told him how to behave. Back at the garage, Snake printed a new sign in letters. Even a bad copier couldn't imitate. Asterisk, asterisk, no plug without blocker. Asterisk, asterisk. Demon taped it above the bench, like a psalm. Chains moved the right blocker to a shelf and tethered the cable because predators aren't always human. Emma copied the words onto an index card and drew a little plug with a frown. She slid the card into the backpack's front pocket. kit expanding without getting heavier. She checked the disposable camera the way you check a compass you didn't know you'd need. Margaret read the safe deposit memo, finger pausing on the line that described the photo of the other girl. She didn't make a sound. Razor saw the pause and didn't ask her to translate. On Keen's desk, the *** wipe trap, *** memo grew into a motion packet foundation to teach a jury why their mirror mattered, why Defense's empty toy was a feature not a bug. Headings in plain language. ***, right blocker hash. Self-wipe, partition integrity. Preserved, ***. Keen smiled the way. A carpenter smiles at square corners. Laird typed a bland email to a joint task force. ***, mirror secured box. 417. Ledger SD hashes attached. Wipe trap confirmed. ***, attachments. Video stills. Seal photos. The judge's warrant. No adjectives. Evening turned nickel. The pole camera across the scrub panned like an old man shaking his head. The visitor log saw Hal bringing a second right blocker. Riley checking the medlock without announcing it. Emma stood under the board and read the newest line out loud. Slow, like she was teaching up close. No plug without blocker. Again, Snake said. She did. He wrote it underneath in block letters that could survive an argument with a machine. He added small, ***, nouns and clocks, ***. The day had taught him that too. Chains brewed coffee that didn't deserve anyone. Razor traced the day's boxes with his eyes. B417, B418, B419, no lifts at the corners. He left a light over the rules and turned the others down until Concrete remembered warmth from earlier. Hi, Mommy, Emma said to whoever was listening past the window. They tried to make proof disappear. We made 2 of everything. No one laughed. The room carried the sentence like a tray. Keen called once, voice tired and pleased. They'll come sideways next. He said, character, motive, pressure. Answer what's asked. Nouns and clocks. Nouns and clock. Razor said, as if reciting liturgy. Dust turned in the beam under the quick-release latch. Visible because somebody bothered to aim light there. The backpack hung on its hook. Zipper tooth catching a thin stripe and giving it back. Snake lifted the tablet. Picture, he asked. Not for them, Emma said. For us, he said. Click. The shutter made a small, decisive sound. Somewhere a semi downshifted like thunder deciding to be polite. Inside, the white of the beam laid a narrow road across the floor. Steady as a rule. The men watched it. The child stepped onto it for a second, then stepped off, and nobody told the light what that meant. Family court wore the color of oatmeal and compromise, beige carpet, Beige light, chairs designed to squeak at the worst moment. A clock over the seal ticked like a metronome set to caution. The placard read, Hon, Patricia Williams, and the sharpened pencils on her bench said she liked her facts with edges. Riley Hart stacked her file, tabs in traffic light order. Margaret Stevens placed a slimmer one beside it. Paper clipped into obedience. Razor chose the aisle, always the aisle. Chains sat one back, tie too tight for his neck, hands spread flat on his thighs. Snake shaved like he meant it and kept his eyes off the bailiff. Emma sat between the two women with the backpack strap across her chest, the bag in her lap like a rule that buckles. On calendar, the clerk intoned, In re Emma heir, petition for guardianship and placement. Judge Williams looked down over her reading glasses as if the room were a casserole she hadn't ordered. Appearances. For the department, said Assistant County Attorney Mara Dell, hair-pinned voice. All business. For those objecting in the name of prudence, said David Sloan, suit a shade too proud. Special appearance. Guardian ad litem present. Riley said, report filed. CPS present. Margaret added, supervised placement ongoing. Home study complete. The judge nodded once and turned a pencil to the margin. Proceed. Dell rose. The department seeks guardianship to Mr. Rodriguez with conditions. Since emergency placement, full compliance with safety protocols, cooperation with law enforcement, school attendance, routine established. We'll call witnesses. She called Riley first. Oath. Chair. Microphone. That never helped. Ms. Hart. Dell said, you conducted the home study. I did. Summarize safety measures. Emergency plan posted with routes. Quick release window demonstrated. Smoke and CO detectors installed and dated. Fire extinguishers tagged. Medication locked. Log maintained with 2 signatures. Visitor log kept with ID verification. Night watch roster followed. No firearms in common areas. Rules posted in large print. Any concerns? Unconventional household, Riley said, but structure is consistent and transparent. No indicators of active substance use. Discipline is non-physical. Trauma-informed routines present. Recommendation. Guardianship granted to Mr. Rodriguez under ongoing oversight. Weekly CPS visits for 90 days. GAL access. Maintenance of posted protocols. Continued therapy and school attendance. Curfew. Visitor log. Sloan stood with a smile that wanted to be gentle. Ms. Hart, given Mr. Rodriguez's criminal record and club affiliation, would you place your own child there? Riley looked at him as if measuring him for furniture. Under these conditions and with layered oversight, for a temporary placement with daily checks, yes. His smile lost a tooth. No further questions. Margaret took the chair next. She didn't warm it. Ms. Stevens, Dell said, why did you support supervised placement initially? Safety. Margaret said, the alternative carried immediate risk. Here, the risk is managed by rules written large and behavior that obeys them. Compliance since, full and proactive. They instituted procedures before ask. They invite inspection. Recommendation. Guardianship under the same conditions. Hart outlined, with the addition, immediate notification of any law enforcement contact, and prohibition of weapons in common areas. Sloan tried for traction. Ms. Stevens, is the department in the business of placing children with outlaw motorcycle clubs? We're in the business of placing children where they're safest, she said. Here, safety looks like accountability with witnesses. The judge wrote something small in her margin and boxed it. The school counselor came next. Calm hair and careful nouns. Attendance stabilized. Night terrors reduced. Drawing content shifted from exit maps to houses with doors that open. A pediatric nurse practitioner videoed in to say the fever chart could hang in a textbook. The sheriff liaison testified to cooperation, a phrase he never thought he'd use for these men. Then razor, oath, chair, scar a line, not a flourish. Describe a normal day. Dell said, up at 6:30, breakfast at 7, school drop 8:15. Night watch in 3-hour shifts, quiet hour, 5 to 6. No engines, visitor log, ID verified, therapy Wednesdays at 4. Rules board, updated as needed. Discipline, rules posted ahead of time. No yelling, no hands, consequences explained and writ. Substance use, none in common areas. None around the child. None for me since placement. Why do you seek guardianship? Because she chose us. he said, because we can stand in the door and write the boring that keeps her safe. Sloane approached like weather misdescribed. Mr. Rodriguez, you are the president of an what-do-you-call-it outlaw club. I'm responsible for people in that room. Felonious. Yes, you understand how this looks. I understand how this works, he said. Rules beat reputations. Sloane paced a half step. Did you detain suspects on your property using force? We kept a child out of a car, Razor said. We used the least force to make that true. Ask a question, Judge Williams murmured without looking up. With a noun, how do you reconcile your reputation with what's best for a child? I don't sell a reputation, he said. I build a plan. Then I follow it where people can see. Emma rose at the whisper of her name. Riley's hand hovered an inch from her back and didn't touch. Do you know why you're here? The judge asked. Emma nodded. To decide where rules live. Where do you want to live? With Daddy Razor and my uncles. They write rules big so future eyes can see. What makes a family special? Protection, she said. Love. Being there when someone needs you. Teaching right and wrong. She hesitated, found the judge's eyes. And boring. Boring wins. A ripple tried to become laughter and decided against it. The judge didn't move. Pencil to margin. A small shading that looked suspiciously like agreement. Anything else you want me to know? We started a club, Emma said. For kids like me. We make kits, thermometer, contact cards, disposable camera, flashlight, pen. We tell them don't plug without blocker. She pointed to the strap. We keep rules near. Sloane half rose, reconsidered, sat down with the grace of a man who had just learned a new word for losing. Closing happened the way good closings do short. Dell said, stability is built, documented, and observed. Sloane said, history matters. Caution matters more, Riley said. Risk, managed by structure, Margaret said, healing evident where she is. The judge took off her glasses like setting down a small weapon. The room held its breath because rooms learn. This court is skeptical by profession, she said. It is also persuaded by behavior. She turned a page. Pencil laid crosswise. Guardianship to Mr. Rodriguez is granted, subject to strict conditions. Continued GAL oversight. Weekly CPS checks for 90 days, then bi-weekly for 90. Maintenance of safety protocols posted. No firearms in common areas. Locked medication with double signature. Visitor log with ID verification. Therapy. School attendance. Curfew. Immediate notice of any law enforcement contact. Violation triggers immediate review. She paused, eyes on Snake, though she hadn't called him. And write your numbers like the future is tired. The gavel tapped once. It sounded like a box checked by a careful hand. No cheering. Not here. In the hallway, relief escaped sideways, shoulders lowered. A throat cleared. Someone let out a laugh that remembered manners. Sloane stood with a professional smile and said, "We'll be watching," which was both promise and threat. "Put it in the log," Snake murmured, and Margaret didn't hide her smirk. The garage greeted them with a different light late afternoon, thin and honest. The board got new ink. Asterisk, asterisk. Custody granted cons. Posted J. Williams. Asterisk. Asterisk. Demon laminated the order and hung it beside sick, protocol, and intruder. Edges straight. Riley read each condition out loud and watched heads nod. Not perform. Visitor log add asterisk asterisk ID verified asterisk asterisk as a column. She said, on it. Snake said, ruler already down. Letters boxy enough to testify. Emma took a new card and wrote at the crate table, "Tongue peeking in concentration. Asterisk, asterisk. We write rules big, so future eyes can see. Asterisk, asterisk." She pressed a gold star beside it because sometimes teachers are right. They didn't call it a party. They ate what the church left in foil, lemonade poured like someone believed in summer. The conversation moved between nouns and clocks. Therapy Wednesdays confirmed. School pickup schedule shifted for a dentist. Extinguisher tags checked and tagged again. Riley leaned against the bay post and watched the room move boring into ritual. "You've built a lab," she said to Margaret, more impressed than she allowed. "Not a lair. Different L-word," Margaret said. "Same amount of mopping." Snake brought over a smaller board for a smaller hand. "Want to letter the new rule?" he asked Emma. She nodded and printed slow, careful strokes. Asterisk, asterisk. No plug without blocker. Asterisk, asterisk. She looked back at him. "Again," he said. She wrote it a second time and underlined asterisk, asterisk without asterisk, asterisk. Because small words save cases, Chains remeasured the cot's clearance and moved it an inch because he could hear Riley's tape measure without looking. Demon mounted another CO detector because redundancy feels like courage. Razor photographed the laminated order on the wall and printed the image, pinning it next to the visitor log. Documents watching documents. Quiet hour settled of its own accord. Engines obeyed. Voices lidded. The window's narrow beam laid a white stripe across concrete, steady as a line on a blacktop. Dust moved in it like proof of air. Emma stood under the hook and touched the backpack's zipper. The metal tooth caught light and flashed back, small as a wink. She looked at the board where the judge's words sat like a signature and whispered to the space that hears her when rooms are still. "Hi, Mommy." The judge wrote our rules. Snake lifted the tablet because he always did. The frame caught the order. The board. The kit hanging on its dedicated hook, the beam cutting a gentle road. No one had to walk tonight. Click. The sound was soft and decisive. The strip of light held. The bag held. The rules, written large for tired eyes, looked back and did not blink. A year teaches concrete to remember heat. It teaches men who once lived hour to hour how to count in quarters. On the corkboard above the tool wall, a new laminate wore 3 words in block letters. Snake could now write "Blind Little Warrior's Intake." Under it, contact cards, evidence do don't, sick protocol, school re-enrollment, sheriff liaison. A cartoon of a small backpack sat in the corner, pink marker faded to a stubborn rose. Saturday mornings found a rhythm. Fluorescence low, a pot of coffee that apologized for itself, mats unfurled on oil-clean concrete, 12 kids cross-legged, sneakers lined like punctuation. Emma stood on a milk crate. She refused to call a stage. Her t-shirt read, "Boring Winds," across a broken white stripe she'd drawn with a Sharpie, until the ink bled a little. "Kit check," she said, lifting pieces one by one. Thermometer, cards with names that answer, disposable camera, pen, small flashlight, water and crackers. See. She held the flashlight to her cheek and clicked it on. A circle of light brushed peach fuzz and then swung away. Your kit lives where you can reach without asking. A boy in a soccer jersey raised 2 fingers. Why a camera? Emma didn't swallow the answer, because sometimes people pretend, picture don't. She said, but if taking one makes you less safe, you don't. Safety beats evidence. Always. Riley Hart and Margaret Stevens ran the table in the back, like dispatch for the wanted and the brave consents. Releases. School forms. the dull glory of checkboxes. Lieutenant Moore leaned over a poster. The sheriff's office printed in indestructible blue. County referral pathway. Boxes. Arrows. No traps. On a second board, Snake had drawn a dashboard with a ruler and pride he didn't joke about. Asterisk, asterisk, Q. 1Q. 4. Asterisk, asterisk. 43 intakes. 41 safety plans inside 48 hours. 34 school re-enrollments in 7 days. 27 evidence packages handed to Moore's desk with seals that could survive a smoker's breath and a defense attorney's magnifying glass. Repeat incidents inside 90 days. 5. No line went to 100. He underlined that once, in the quiet bay, Chains taught what the therapist signed off on. Rule 1 is run, he said, thumping a pad with a palm big as a salad plate. Rule 2 is yell. Rule 3 is break. Whatever rule somebody told you not to break if it keeps you safe. He demonstrated a wrist peel out on an eager 10-year-old who got the physics and the idea. The crack of foam echoed, and then respected the room. At noon, the bell over the side door rang twice. Scheduled. Demon wiped his hands and opened. A woman and her daughter stood, framed by white sky, both with the look of carriers. The girl's braids were too tight, forehead shiny where hands worry. I called, the woman said. You did. Margaret answered, the two best words she knew. Come inside. We'll start boring. They started boring. Names, dates, addresses, who answered at 2 in the morning. The phone, the mother's, old and stubborn, held screenshots that made everybody breathe through the nose. Hal from County IT, off duty but never really, parked himself by the right blocker and coaxed data into a worm disk, the way you deliver a baby. Calm, firm, with instructions the room obeys, because you sound like you mean it. He read a hash and printed it in numbers the future could see. Anyone you trust? Riley asked the woman. Sister, pastor, neighbor with lights on. My aunt, the woman said, out by the feed store. We'll loop her, Riley said. No surprises. Surprises got you here. The girl drifted toward Emma's crate. Emma slid over without ceremony and put the kit in the child's lap, one piece at a time. We have quiet hour at 5, she said. Sometimes nightmares don't like schedules. You can sit, not talk then. It still counts. By mid-afternoon, the intake bell fell silent, and the bay became a classroom again. A volunteer therapist, sensible shoes, eyes that could hold fire and not spill. It led a circle where kids drew the shape of a safe room, and then the door. A church lady who would die before admitting she cussed left 3 lasagnas with the wrong labels on purpose, so no one had to have an argument about ingredients in the doorway. In the office corner, Razor and Snake sat with Moore and a young deputy DA under a hand-lettered sign that said, Witness Prep. Cal, the gray man, had said yes with condition. We'll move him tonight, Moore said. 2 unmarked and a decoy. Accounting conference boring. He doesn't get brave. He gets small. No surprise. Snake wrote on the board under the roster and circled it hard enough to make the marker squeak. The near disaster arrived via fax and tone. A registrar's voice. We can't enroll without a notarized custody letter from the father of record. We can and you will, Margaret said, gaze going flat. I'm sending guardianship orders and McKinney-Vento. Police doesn't outrank law. You'll accept proof of residence by affidavit and a form with my name and a judge's. She didn't raise her voice. She arranged it. The registrar put her on hold. Put her off. Put her back. We'll process, she said finally. This is new for us. It isn't, Margaret said. not unkind, and wrote the school's name on a post-it like a trophy. 5 p.m. brought quiet hour down like a lid. No engines, no metal, breathing, and a clock. Emma sat beneath the quick-release window, backpack strap across hair, knee, palms on thighs, dust hung in the strip of sunlight like a slow snowfall. "Hi, Mommy," she said into the silence that knew what to do with it. "We made the kit smaller and bigger at the same time. At 7, they did the seminar everyone dreaded and then admitted they needed. When good guys get in the way, chains moderated because a man built like a booth bouncer, telling other men when not to touch a scene made the medicine go down. Detectives showed slides, don't coach, don't clean, don't scroll through a victim's phone with your thumbs. Do bag, seal, and photograph in frame with a clock." A former public defender, hair like a public radio voice, explained how help becomes inadmissible. The enemy of evidence is improvisation. "Your boring is our friend. What if he's in the driveway and she's behind me?" Razor asked. "Then you act and you don't apologize." One detective said, "Once the threat is gone, you stop acting. You call us with both hands." "We like logs," Snake said, and half the room laughed like they've earned the right. At 8:30, Moore's phone buzzed. "We move Cal at 9, he said. 2 cars and a ghost." "You don't come," Razor nodded. "Happy to be bored." Snake wrote 21, 4 calories departure southbound, and left a line for arrived. He refused to fill early. At 21, Sisharar. Moore texted, asterisk, asterisk, delivered, asterisk, asterisk. Snake drew a check mark that didn't gloat. The next morning a gray man took an oath and told a judge the names behind numbers, not adjectives, not redemption, ledger entries to faces, addresses to roles. Box 417 to pride. Defense counsel tried to hang the word liar on him and couldn't find a nail. Cal glanced once at Margaret. He never looked at Razor or Snake. He didn't see Emma because Emma had school and a plant on the sill she was trying not to kill. By week's end, the cases grew teeth: conspiracy, laundering, tampering. The paper called none of them angels and none of them outlaws. It said community partners, and Moore circled the phrase and taped it to the break room like a deer head. Saturday. "Self-defense can expand," he asked. "We're getting calls from people who never would." "Bring them," Razor said. "Bring a pen. We'll bring the boring up." Snake updated the dashboard. Careful, as a man who lost a number in open court and survived. Intakes ticked to 44. Safety plans held at 95%. Repeat incidents edged down a hair. He wrote asterisk, asterisk. Success is not equal to miracle asterisk, asterisk, in small letters at the bottom, and underlined it once. Emma replaced 3 disposables because film obeys when phones refuse. She checked her own kit by feel. The card that said, "No plug without blocker," had softened at the corners from being touched. When she needed ground, she slid her thumb across the edge and felt it bite back gently. She liked that. Sun fell clean and long. Under the corkboard, Razor and Moore signed a memorandum of understanding. The county lawyer insisted be exactly 1-page reporting protocols, custody language, volunteer vetting, boundaries that keep adults. Adults. Razor printed his name like a man who finally trusted his hand. Moore countersigned, and then turned the pen over in his fingers, like a new part he couldn't wait to install. "Congratulations," he said. "You're boring on paper." "About time," Snake said, and someone handed him a cookie he didn't earn. Night blanked the scrub. The kids taped butcher paper to the floor and painted a broken white stripe that ran from bay to office to quick-release window and out under the pole camera to the yard. It dried chalky and bright. Emma walked it once, slow, backpack on, not because she had to, because sometimes you practice a road on a good night just so your feet don't forget. She stopped under the hook and wrote a new card in neat, almost adult print. If the screen is dark, ask us why. If the numbers pretend, make them bigger. If the monster knocks, read him the rules. She taped it beside the no-plug card, edges perfectly parallel because this, too, is a kind of defense. Chains lifted the tablet. The frame caught the card, the beam, the backpack's patched front, the laminated court order glowing under the board light. The shutter made a small noise like a promise choosing to stay. Window needs backup batteries, Snake muttered, noticing the way the quick-release latch glinted. I don't want Faith hanging on wall power. Put it on the board, Razor said. Snake printed. Window backup Kymmenen. Sancher. Under it, he added, almost embarrassed by his own earnestness, asterisk asterisk. Nouns plus clocks. They ate leftover lasagna room temperature. Lemonade sweating into paper cups. Nobody pretending this counted as celebration. It counted as fuel. MOUs were filed. The roster tightened. A mother texted that she slept 6 hours for the first time in months. Moore sent a thumbs up nobody saw because he was sitting with a teenager at intake, writing Josh on a line that used to say, client, and now said, kid. At the door, air slipped under the bay like a cool thought. Emma touched the backpack, and the zipper flashed one tooth quick, like a wink you almost miss. She looked at the white stripe on the floor and the board above it, and then out into the dark where roads and men and 214 seconds live for other children. See you tomorrow, she said to no one, and the beam itself, dust hung, visible because someone pointed light at it and refused to blink. Inside, the garage remembered to breathe. Outside, a truck downshifted like thunder deciding to be polite. The line held, the bag held, the rules written large for tired eyes stayed on the wall and waited without impatience. Anniversary nights run on checklists. The board wore a new title bleeding marker. Asterisk asterisk year 2 audit. Asterisk asterisk boxes weighted like nerves. CO detectors bot. Extinguishers tag. Visitor lo archiu. Therapy apps. Next 90D. KPI roll-up Q4. The quick-release sash shone under a rag until it squeaked. The latch answered with a clean click. Concrete smelled like lemon cleaner over old gasoline. A truce signed by mops. Emma, taller. The strap crossing a shoulder that knew weight without resenting it. Thumbed a stack of laminated intake forms. The pink backpack had faded to a workman's rose. Someone had stitched a patch on the front, evidence kit. In an apologetic block, she looked at the white stripe they'd painted months back, dashed, imperfect, stubborn, and smiled. Like a person who passed a test only she had written. Roll call, Snake said, tapping the board with a capped pen. Roster, then lemonade. They didn't toast with anything that argues. Paper cups, ice, church lasagna, under foil with someone's name in Sharpie. Margaret checked extinguisher tags with a little auditor's grunt when a date matched her sheet. Riley opened her folder to a single page. Asterisk, asterisk, partnership. Renewal asterisk, asterisk, reporting protocol. Volunteer fetting. Boundaries that keep adults from pretending. Razor signed. Moore countersigned. Emma pressed a sticker, a tiny broken white line under the signatures. Decoration. Moore said, direction. Emma said, visitor log. Riley added, tapping the stool by the door. Archive last year. Start fresh. Keep ID column. On it, Snake said, drawing a crisp diagonal like a man who once lost a 9 and learned. They ate, not festive. Inventory is prayer said out loud. Chains tried a speech, turned it into a list of people who showed up with pizza when weather was mean. Demon held up a pack of 9 volts and shook it like maracas until someone laughed and the room accepted joy in small doses. At 20, should see. The bay took on that half-light that looks like honesty. Emma pulled the zipper an inch, checked each piece by feel. Thermometer, cards, disposable camera, flashlight, pen, the rule card with softened corners, asterisk, asterisk, no plug without blocker, asterisk, asterisk. She slid it back, listening for the whisper of laminated edge against canvas. Razor watched her like a man reading a checklist tattooed on a heart. The bell over the side door didn't ring. The sound came from above a mosquito with a diploma. Snake looked up first. Then everybody else. A quadcopter hovered beyond the quick-release window. Lights dual, lens black as a pupil. It drifted, small tilts correcting wind. An eye refusing to blink. Don't move. Chains said automatically, as if motion could be discovery. Low it, Riley said, voice already in evidence, cadence, time, duration, direction, altitude if you can guess. Snake wrote, Archer, 19. Drone hover knee bay, window 15 feet. AGL silent prop, forward camera, asterisk, asterisk. He underlined, asterisk, asterisk, no engagement, asterisk, asterisk, before anyone could get clever. Moore stepped under the pole cam feed on his phone. I've got a thermal, he said. Operators not where you want them. Backlot or scrub. Stay boring. He thumbed a radio. 2 units to our little party. Bring the boring truck. The drone nosed closer. A curious insect. Reflex simmered the part of the room that knows how to swat. Razor kept his hands at his sides. Emma, he said, still. Office. Window down. She moved like she'd rehearsed it because she had office door. Quick release. Window lowered to a slit. The drone tilted as if disappointed. Operator thinks they're clever. Hal said from the back he'd been labeling drives. Sleeves rolled. Looks like a prosumer. Off-the-shelf transmitter with a hacked GPS mask. We can fry it, but then we lose it. We don't fry. Moore said. We invite it to land. He toggled a frequency jammer low. A legal shade only a captain would tolerate. The drone wobbled. Drone pride corrected. The jammer purred. The drone's nose dipped as if to sniff the sill. Open, Demon whispered. Not the window, Razor said. The net? Chains lifted a tool from behind the bench. Something between a lacrosse stick and a promise. He crouched. The drone kissed the sash. Chains flicked wrist. A motion that didn't belong on a man his size. The net ballooned, silk and weights, swallowed buzzing. The drone thrashed once, twice, then went polite. Don't touch the body, Riley said. Gloves. Photos. Clock in frame. Custody template, Snake said, already unfurling the laminated page with boxes that made defense counsel feel faint. Time 20. Arshirar, Razor said, rolling his voice for the recorder. Seizure of unmanned aerial vehicle consumer quadcopter at window threshold. Not damage beyond entanglement. Operator unknown. He nodded to Chains. Chains. Gloved. Lifted the net by corners like a picnic you don't spill. Demon shot angles. Snake read serials off motor mounts. Hal set a sterile tray on a crate and clipped on a right blocker cable like a rosary. They didn't cut power. They didn't let it phone home. Hal whispered to the room more than the machine. We keep it quiet. Battery out after photos. Port blocked. We treat curiosity like a contagion. Seal B. 520. Snake said. Marker ready. Item. Quadcopter black cereal. OK. With attached micro SD. He pressed the red tab, the adhesive crazing like frost. Demon printed a label. Margaret logged the seizure in her own hand, parallel record like a belt and suspenders. Emma stood at the threshold and watched big men write tiny numbers they would have laughed at a year ago. The drone lay in the tray, impotent and tidy, a toy that had tried to be a tool and discovered law. Units 2 minutes out, Moore said, scanning the polcam feed. Thermal shows a heat bloom by the culvert, too steady for critter. Lights, Razor asked. Let them come dark, Moore said. Patient. Hubris has a half-life. The sheriff cars rolled in without noise. 2 deputies in soft vests, boots built for uneven truth, moved to the culvert with their flashlights off. Shoulders, speaking the language of people who don't want their names carved on a wall. A minute later, radio quiet turned into handcuffs. Noise. Moore listened and almost smiled. Operator's hands smell like fertilizer and cheap mezcal, he said. And he brought a notebook with frequencies, because why not gift the state a syllabus? Cartel, Snake asked. Adjacency, Moore said. Our guy says he was told to watch the angels. He thought that meant church. He's learned a new meaning. He came inside, looked at the tray. Can we see what the eye saw? Hal nodded. Right blocked feed only. No edits. We'll mirror to worm while you watch. He plugged with a blocker that looked like an apology with teeth. Numbers walked down the screen in neat hex, then resolved into thumbnail still. The bay, the board, the strip of light, children cutting paper earlier with tongues out in concentration, a 20-second clip of Emma walking the paint line, backpack on, slow as a metronome. Margaret's jaw set. We'll want this under seal, she said. Protective order for minors' images. We'll get it, Moore said, but there's more here. Hal zoomed frame by frame. A second drone, far edge of the shot, higher, like a chaperone. He froze it, sharpened, lifted a watermark the size of a fingernail, a rental company's logo that believed in branding more than discretion. Sloane's face flashed in Razor's head without permission. Not Sloane, the other counsel, the one with the silver tie clip, and a smile that curated facts. He shook it away. Coincidences are lazy stories. They printed hashes. They mirrored to write. Once, Hal's label printer hummed, micro SD hash, Toftre Knie, he read, drone controller. Firmware, stock with radio patch. He bagged silicon and battery separately because batteries lie. Moore's phone buzzed. He answered with a word that meant, keep talking. We've got a car at the trailhead. He relayed, rental sticker in the window, same company as the logo. Our operator says. A woman with a scar under her ear gave him cash, a frequency sheet, and told him to hold the drone over the garage with the rules for 15 minutes. He thought that was a prank. He looked at Razor. Pride kills smarter men. Is she ours? Margaret asked softly. Gray antagonists don't always change teams. Sometimes they change tactics. Working, Moore said. We'll see which list she's on by morning. They packaged the tray's contents like organs bound for transplant. Seal numbers lined up in a column Snake could love. Moore signed for custody. Hal kept a mirror. Riley wrote a short motion in neat cursive on a legal pad because sometimes paper beats email by an hour. The room exhaled and found inventory again. Chains wiped the sill where the net had scuffed paint. Demon rehung a spare net by the window. Closer, this time. New line on the board. He said, dry. Asterisk. Asterisk. If it flies, we log before we swat. Emma took a pen and lettered it slow, then underlined asterisk, asterisk, log. Asterisk, asterisk. Because weapons come in nouns. 2. She glanced at the tray as Moore carried it out. He watched our white line, she said, and tripped over it, Snake said. By 9. The audit boxes wore checkmark, KPI columns balanced. Moore texted a photo of a cuffed wrist with a tattoo half-finished hubris, literally, the ink stopping at the B. Because pain or police. In the caption, asterisk, asterisk, self-destruction writes, sloppy. They didn't cheer. They didn't gloat. The church lasagna was gone. Lemonade was water. Hal packed his kit with tenderness reserved for newborns and bombs. Riley slid the renewal into a folder and wrote the date on the tab. Then again, larger, as if the future would be tired and need help. Quiet hour arrived late and set itself down anyway. One lamp over the board. The beam through the quick release drew a precise lane along the painted dashes like a ledger, reminding everyone it balances at midnight. Dust drifted in it, proof of air, proof of light, proof of motion too small for lazy eyes. Emma stood in the strip with the backpack on, feet finding the dashes like she'd been born. Knowing this measure, she didn't pose, she breathed. The drone's hum had left her ribs. The room had absorbed it and made it part of the list. Razor took the doorway as always. Snake capped the marker and set it on the stool. Chains lifted the tablet and didn't press the shutter yet. "Hi, Mommy," Emma said into the quiet that respected her. "They sent a little eye tonight. We wrote down what it saw, and then we wrote down what we did. I think that's how you make monsters bored." Nobody spoke. Somewhere outside, a truck downshifted like thunder with manners. Moore's taillights went red at the bend and then were gone. The board glowed with rules that had learned to be furniture. On the hook, the backpack hung steady, zipper straight, rule cards peeking like bookmarks. Chains took the photo. The click folded into the beam and disappeared like good procedure. Razor turned off the bench light and left the board's lamp. The white stripe held its place. It led to the office, the window, the yard, and the county camera that didn't blink. It didn't promise safety. It promised direction. Emma touched the bag, and the zipper flashed a single tooth quick. Like an answer, she didn't say goodnight. She looked at the lane of light and into the dark beyond it, where roads and men and frequencies would keep trying. She didn't flinch. "See you," she said to the beam, to the list, to the dust turning an open thing, unafraid to keep counting. When the noise dies down, this story leaves us with a quiet but stubborn truth. Safety is built, not wished for. It's made of small, repeatable acts, writing things down, asking for help, telling the hard parts out loud. We live in a world where silence can feel polite, even protective, yet silence is often the mask that harm wears. The lesson here is simple and hard. Name what is wrong, gather proof, and claim allies who will stand in the doorway with you. Real change rarely arrives as a trumpet blast. It shows up as procedures, boundaries, and the courage to keep them. Sunlight is the best disinfectant, and, as the old saying goes, you reap what you sow. Steady fairness yields steadier lives. If you've been taught to endure, remember, endurance isn't the same as dignity. Dignity draws lines. Dignity asks for the supervisor. Dignity keeps the log, calls the neighbor, visits the clinic, saves the message, and refuses to be hurried. And for those of us watching from the sidelines, the call is just as clear. Be the boring kind of brave check-in. Document, accompany, testify. The long road shows the true horse. Character is what we practice on ordinary days, so it's there when the storm hits. I'd love to hear what stayed with you, which moment felt most honest or most useful for your own life. Share a thought or a story below. Tap like if this resonated, and subscribe so you won't miss the next episode. Equal parts grit and reflection. Until then, may your home be orderly, your circle dependable, and your nights unbroken by fear. May you find a clear line to follow when the rest of the road feels dark, and the steady company to walk it with you.